Welcome to this video on human rights. Today we focus on Article 24 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which states that everyone has the right to rest and leisure, including reasonable limitation of working hours and periodic paid holidays. But why is this right so essential? What impact does it have on society, health, and quality of life? In this video, we explore the background, how it is implemented in different countries, and the challenges that still exist. Stay tuned to learn more about the importance of rest as a human right. Even though the article is very important, it is often overlooked by governments and employers, because it is more cost efficient not to comply. A clear example of this can be seen in China. In China, the law states that you can only work up to 44 hours a week. But this law is not enforced, due to it not being economical. We had an insightful conversation with Cole, an employee at a major tech company in Beijing. He works 10 hours a day, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., 6 days a week, a practice commonly known as the 996 system. This system, which has become the norm in China's tech industry, demands employees work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. As Cole shared, the excessive workload has taken a severe toll on his mental health. He describes feeling like a soulless robot, as his life consists solely of work and sleep. Despite these harsh conditions, leaving his job is not a viable option. The majority of well-paying positions in this industry follow the same schedule, making it nearly impossible to find an alternative with better working conditions. Additionally, the intense job competition means that if he doesn't do the job, someone else will, which pressures him even more due to the constant fear of being replaced. And it also fuels the system, as other workers will step in if some employees decided to protest against the working hours. The 996 system exemplifies how corporate exploitation and weak labor protections can strip workers of their basic rights. However, China is not the only country where labor rights are violated. In India, workers not only endure inhumane working hours, but also receive extremely low wages, making their situation even worse. Many Indian laborers work 12 to 14 hours a day, often in unsafe environments with little to no job security. Unlike tech employees, who at least receive relatively high salaries, these workers earn barely enough to survive. In some cases, daily wages are as low as a few dollars, forcing families to live in extreme poverty. Additionally, child labor remains a persistent issue, with many children working long hours to help support their families, instead of receiving an education. Therefore, they are stuck working these low-paying jobs. The combination of long hours, dangerous conditions, and inadequate pay leaves workers trapped in a cycle of poverty with no viable escape. Much like in China, labor protections are weak, and efforts to improve conditions are often met with resistance from powerful corporations and government inaction. Nevertheless, even in developed nations where labor laws are generally stronger, extreme working conditions can emerge in times of crisis. A striking example of this occurred in Europe during the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly in Germany and Italy. While many office workers were able to transition to remote work, frontline workers, especially those in healthcare, logistics, and essential services, faced grueling hours under immense pressure. In Germany, doctors and nurses often worked 14-hour shifts with little rest, as hospitals became overwhelmed with patients. Many reported severe physical and emotional exhaustion, with some even quitting their job due to unbearable workload. Italy, one of the hardest hit countries during the early days of the pandemic, saw similar conditions. Medical staff in overcrowded hospitals worked back-to-back shifts, sometimes with insufficient protective equipment. Many were forced to isolate from their families for months to prevent the spread of infection, adding their mental and emotional strain. The pandemic revealed that, even in countries with labor protections, extraordinary circumstances can lead to the exploitation of workers. While some governments took steps to provide financial aid and temporary labor protections, many essential workers were left overworked, underpaid, and emotionally drained. The global exploitation of workers, whether through extreme working hours in China, low wages in India, or the overwhelming demand placed on essential workers in Europe, reveals a fundamental flaw in modern labor systems. Profit is too often prioritized over human well-being. To create a fairer world, governments, corporations, and societies must commit to stronger labor protections. Thank you for staying until the end. I hope you enjoyed the video.